I think it should be. I don't see the little thing.
It just decided to disappear.
It's recording. Okay. All right, so let's think of some things. Let's talk about dimensions. All right, so there's some things that are one-dimensional. Bless you. There's things that are two-dimensional. There's things that are three-dimensional. That's as high as we're going to go. 1, 2, 3-dimensional. All right. What is something? Can you think of anything that's one-dimensional?
It's hard thinking.
It's hard to think of things that are one-dimensional. What's something that's one-dimensional? Like it just has one dimension. Huh? Very good, a line, because Victoria and I can measure it, and it would just be like 4 inches. Y'all see what I mean? It's got one dimension. There's 4 inches. I could have like lines, anything that you just measure that's just like got one dimension. If you say this is 3 yards or this is 30 seconds, those are one dimensional. Okay? Now, can anybody think of something that's 2-dimensional? Right, Sarah?
Maybe a square.
Something with an area like the surface of your laptop. Okay? Now, you may not know why that's called 2-dimensional, and you might know, but I'm going to pretend like you don't so that I'm speaking to everyone. And so, why is it 2-dimensional? Let's say if I have a rectangle, okay? Now all of a sudden it's not just what Victoire said, like a straight line or a certain time or something like that. Now it's got 2 dimensions. Did everybody see it has a length and a width?
Yeah.
Now it's got 2 dimensions that come into play. So it's not fair just to say how long it is. Don't you also need to say how wide it is? Does that make sense? I always like to make math make sense to you because sometimes it didn't make sense and it was harder. Hopefully if I can make it make sense to you, you can understand it better. Anyway, let's say this is 3 feet and this is 4 feet. Okay? Now I want to find the area of this rectangle. I think you all know it's base times height or length times width, but let's actually multiply them. 3 feet times 4 feet. Remember how I started our whole year together talking about how important it is to tell me what dimension you're in. I started with unit conversion disasters. Okay, so this is 12. 3 times 4 is 12, but what is feet times feet? Squared. That's what you've all heard of square feet, right?
Yeah.
That's what's x times x. Isn't that x squared? 3 times 3 is 3 squared. Feet times feet. Now, what's beautiful about this, you can just abbreviate it. What's really cool about that is you can actually look at that and everybody knows you're talking about area. It's 2 dimensions. It's just the surface of something. This, not my whole grade book, this part of my grade book is 2-dimensional. Okay? Victoire?
I was going to ask why you had to put them in parentheses. Couldn't you just...
I could just put a little dot between them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or I could put a little X between them. I mean, that...
It doesn't really matter?
No,
Okay.
no. You don't have to put them in parentheses, okay? Anyway, does everybody see I can't just call it feet? I can't say it's 12 feet. Do y'all see what I mean? I can't just say it's 12 feet. What does that imply to the person that's reading it? They think I've measured something straight out. Good,
Yeah.
right, Margo? So you've got to let them know that you're dealing with 2 dimensions. Now, here's where it comes. Y'all watch. Now I want to change this to square inches. For case in point, my laptop, like I ordered this, like top for it. But I had to look up the dimensions of my laptop and my little Apple logo up there, on my computer. And if it wasn't, I knew mine in inches, and the website I was ordering from wanted it in centimeters. Do you see I would have to know how to convert? Everybody see what I mean? Okay. So if I pull up the dimensions of my laptop and it's in the wrong, and I'm ordering from a website that wants something else, but highly likely, I've got to be able to convert. Okay. But how many? Well, let's see how I'm going to say this. How many units do you need to convert now? 1 or 2? You really have 2 to convert, don't you? Don't you have 3 feet and 4 feet that became 12 square feet?
Yes.
Okay? So you have to be fair. What I mean by that, if I want to convert this to inches now, if I go 12 square feet and I multiply it by 12 inches and 1 foot, I'll be careful that you understand this. So just if I'm babying you too much, just kind of let me know that in a minute. Like you could move a little faster. I'm gonna go really slow, okay?
Yes.
This isn't gonna get it right here, girls. This is feet and this is square feet.
Right.
Those will cancel, but what will be left behind?
No, feet.
A foot will be left behind, okay? So let's go to another slide. Here he is in this like campy kind of looking shirt. It's a really nice shirt. Okay.
Very good.
This is the funniest one. Let me go in and show it to you. The hairdryer one, I think it's really funny. Okay. So back to this. Okay. So what, I'm not sure that y'all know. Let me see if you know. A squared divided by A. Does anybody know what that is? A. Because what does A squared mean? Doesn't it mean A times A over A? So it cancels and you have A.
That makes sense.
Would that be true? Girls, look. What's 3 squared over 3?
3.
All right, because isn't that 9 over 3? It's definitely 3. But another way to look at it would have been this way. 3 times 3 over 3. If I have 3 squared and I only put 1 3 underneath it, all I got rid of was 1 3. Do y'all see what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay? If I have A squared and I think I'm going to get rid of it with an A, I'm not, because I'm trying to get rid of 2 dimensions with 1 dimension.
Right.
Okay? So I've got to make sure I have 2 dimensions. And so what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to do it twice. I'll show you a workaround in a minute. But what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to do it twice. 12 inches and 1 foot. Why did I have to do it twice? Stay with me. Don't think about what you're thinking about. Don't stay. Put your hand down for a second. Don't stay in a rut. Just a second, Gabby. If I have this in feet, the width has to be changed to inches. So that needs 1 conversion, 12 inches and 1 foot. But isn't this one still waiting to be changed?
Yes. Right.
So you need another inches to feet. I'm going to make this clear, so don't ask questions right now. I know that sounds weird, but you'll see as you go through upper school that a lot of us math teachers do that all the time, because if you let us keep talking, we're going to clear up your questions. If I'm being a little rude-ish looking, sometimes I go, don't ask a question. I don't mean don't ever ask it. Write it down in case you think you're going to forget it. But I promise if I keep moving almost all the time, I get 99% of the questions answered in a more fluid fashion instead of stopping and like rehashing everything where people are confused. So let me keep moving, okay? Let's back it down a little bit. You're not supposed to understand this yet, by the way. If you're sitting there really confused, that's where we are right now. I'm still explaining it, okay? So if you're like, I don't get it. If you do get it, that's awesome, all right? Didn't we have 3 feet times 4 feet? Victoire, that time I chose to put a little dot, okay? Isn't that where I got 12 square feet?
Yeah.
It's not fair just to convert one of them to inches.
Right.
I need to convert both of them to inches.
Right.
So I'm going to multiply by 12 inches in 1 foot, and technically that takes care of that one. But the other one never got converted. So 12 inches in 1 foot, and that's gone. Now let's make sense of this. How many 12s do you see? But you needed 2 to get rid of square feet, okay? You would get out your calculator, which you don't have to do right now, and go 3 times 4 times 12 times 12, okay? In fact, let's do that because I don't know what that is.
1,728.
Thank you. What? 1,728 what? What do you see? What words do you see left behind, Bailey? Inches. Squared. Good. Don't you see inches times inches? And the fast way for Bailey to write that is square inches. You hear your teacher say this all the time, okay? And that's what all that means. That was a lot of explanation. Let me show you how to go a little faster, okay?
Yeah.
So just be patient. Have a little patience, okay? All right, let's start over with, if you have something that is 3 feet by 4 feet, you get 12 what? Square feet. Okay? So I'm seeing square feet. I know I have two different measurements to take care of. So I can go 12 inches in 1 foot as long as I square it. That's the fastest way to do it. Most of y'all are going to do a little better maybe if you write it out a little bit more like this. 12 inches squared, 12 feet squared. Sorry, I'm stuck on all these 12s. I'm going to get away from 12s in a minute. 12 square feet. And you're going to go, okay, I have 12 inches in 1 foot, but I need another one, 12 inches in 1 foot. The biggest danger is not getting those two 12s in there. That's the biggest danger. Now, do y'all see, watch this. This, both take care of that. Would y'all agree?
Yeah.
If I have this over this,
So then.
if I have 9 over 3 squared, doesn't that all cancel out?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So then would it be 12 times 12 times 12?
Yeah, I'm still working on the same problem. That's whatever answer that Evelyn just called out to me. I haven't changed problems yet. It should be that 1,200. Evelyn, what'd you say it was?
1,700.
What? 1,728 what?
Squared.
Square inches. All right. Now let me take some questions before I do some more examples. Question, Rebecca?
Yeah, but I thought like you can't have like two like when you cancel it out, you can't have two things together.
If you're measured in 2 dimensions, you better have 2 things together. All we've done so far is one-dimensional analysis. Good question. So let's pause and think about it. Is that your bottle or Sarah's bottle? Okay, so your bottle doesn't have area. Do you know what your bottle has? Volume. And that's got 3 dimensions. You've heard of things that are 3-dimensional, right? It's like when you go to the movies where you put on those glasses and you see it in 3 dimensions. The 4th dimension, they like spray water on you and blow your hair and stuff like that. Do you see what I mean? So when you start working in 3 dimensions, you better have 3 words left, yard, 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 because it's yards cubed. Okay? You'll get used to it. I'm going to go really slow. Okay? Ella? Yes. Yana?
Okay, so the question is, so you're always trying to, in this problem, you're trying to convert from
Feet to inches.
right? And then so, I just don't understand, this is like 1 foot and 1 foot, isn't 1 times 1 just?
Yeah, there's nothing on the bottom right now.
So then how would it cancel out if you square that? Because isn't it just basically
Just like we always have. This foot cancels out that foot, and then you have one left over, like that's feet squared and that's feet squared. And our numbers left on the bottom are just ones. If they happen to be 50s, you'll divide by parentheses. I don't know if I answered your question or not.
Yeah, because I just know that even if you like square just like the number 1, it's always going to be 1.
Right, so it's that number is not affecting the problem right here, right now. Okay?
Yeah, it's just
Okay. But in our other problems, we had lots of 1s on the bottom, and sometimes we didn't. We had 2 60s on the bottom. Okay?
I just clarify, square inches is the same thing as inches.
Yes, same thing. Same thing. Cubic inches, inches cubed, those are the same thing. That means there's 3 of them. And that's as high as we're going. All right?
So it says, I wrote down my notes like 12 feet, and then it was crossed out, but my question was, like, then would it be 12, just times 12?
Well, how many 12s do you see?
3.
Okay, so Evelyn went, and Gabby went 12 times 12 times 12. Now why are there 3? The number I gave you was already, that's a great question. I was going to go right there, because that's kind of where the confusion's going to set in a minute. Most of y'all saw me get the 12 from the 3 times the 4. Isn't that where that first 12 came from?
Yep.
Okay, so it really was originally, technically that first 12 is kind of technically 2 numbers. Wasn't it a 3 and a 4? So what you're seeing, Susan, is really I have 2 numbers and 2 numbers. okay?
So,
But the first number we got by multiplying two numbers together.
so then do we just like forget about the feet kind of and just
You can't forget about them. If you have 1 foot, you multiply by 12 inches on 1 foot. If you have square feet, you've got to do it twice.
Okay.
Okay, because if you have square feet, that's feet times feet. So you're going to have to do two things to get rid of that. Hey girls, it's a trade-off. 2 dimensions need 2 dimensions. 1 dimension needed 1 dimension. In the past, you were changing miles to feet. So if you're changing square miles, you're going to change it to square what? Feet. And you're going to need 2 of them. But her question's fantastic. So if you feel like you've got this, shake your head a minute and clear the cobwebs out and watch again, because now you might be confused. I'm not trying to confuse you. I'm just saying, all of a sudden people are like, okay, stop, like I get it. And then they go home to do their homework and they don't get it, okay? So I'm trying to avoid that scenario. Right now it may seem like super easy. All right, or super hard. It's probably one of those two things. There's really not much in the middle with unit conversions. All of this will help you with your math, but mostly your science courses, okay, or your life. You'll use it a lot. There are times I've told you before, like I think I've told you I've actually used unit conversion outside of my classroom. Like if I don't like to really, I like to shop around like for good products and a good look, but I also want to not spend too much money. So like when I retiled my kitchen floor, I measured it myself first to even start to get online to see how much tile, how much is it going to cost? It's going to cost hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars. Like at first I didn't have any idea what to expect if I wanted this new tile on my kitchen floor, okay? Which is hysterical because my kitchen in Memphis, Tennessee, before I moved to New York, was as big as this room, I think. And now, my kitchen in New York City, my kitchen floor is probably this big. I mean, like, it's in the corner of my, you know how kitchens are in New York. Like, we have a den kind of family room.
Yeah.
And the kitchen, you just sort of stand there. And, I don't know. It's,
Well, no.
the floor is just like a little triangle, and I can go, let me mop the floor. And then I'm done. Okay, but
What
anyway,
house do you live in?
I'll show you a picture of it.
That's in New York.
Oh, you mean
House
house?
New York house. A New York house has like a kitchen with the tiny stove that doesn't really work, and then you go to
No, she
and
didn't.
then you go to the living room. It's 2 separate rooms.
You have your kitchen.
I mean, I
Yeah, there's a kitchen.
There's not a wall. It just all flows together.
It's like a raw separation. My house is like that.
Yeah.
Right when you walk in, it's a small, tiny room kitchen, and then it just leads
There's
into
no door, but there's like 2 walls.
Here's mine.
Wall.
It's like this, Gabby, and then we need to move on.
No,
Okay, wait, what?
Look at this.
Here's my refrigerator, microwave, sink, counter. Hurry.
Yes.
Okay. Here's stove and a little more counter. Okay. So it's like this. Okay. And so this is the floor, and the only part that they tiled was this part. The rest of it's wood that flows into
Oh,
the rest of the house.
that's really rude. But I get it.
You get it now?
Yeah.
Okay. You were worried about that.
I am rude. I care what's necessary, and you know what?
Anyway, I don't know what. Maria, sorry about all that. Okay, so anyway, my point is, it mattered a lot. Okay, when I had like a house, and so it mattered a lot. So I measured it myself, and it has to be super precise. So I knew that my numbers weren't quite right because they have a certain way of measuring it that they come in and measure it, which is neither here nor there. But when I measured it, suppose I got out my yardstick and I measured it in yards, and then I go to look on the Home Depot site and the kitchen tile floor site here and there and everywhere. And different sites wanted it in centimeters, inches, yards, feet. Do you see what I ran into? And so I had to be able to convert without calling a different math teacher. I had to be able to do it myself. People that lay the tile on your kitchen floor have to know how to do this. They may think, oh, well, I'm not good at math, but they're exceptionally good at math. And precise math, but it's their jobs. They don't really feel like they're doing anything that's all that great. So my point is this, and this is where the confusion should come in. So let me just jump into it. Let's say I have something that's 4 square miles. Now I'm not talking about just going down the road like Victoire was saying. I'm not just going straight down the road. This must be maybe the area of a city. Do y'all see what I mean?
Yes.
So you may be telling the area of Jersey City, and you would tell it in square miles because it's got 2 dimensions. Are y'all okay with that?
Uh-huh.
Here's where my students in the past have gotten confused, to be honest with you. They don't understand when I do this because they would say, like some of you have asked, so watch me do it and then you'll immediately have questions, but please watch. Everybody watching? Okay. I would say there's 5,280 feet and 1 mile. Okay? Am I going to be able to get rid of those miles?
No.
I need how many more?
One.
Good. All right, so I need 5,280 feet and 1 mile. And this goes to Susan's and Yana's question. They were asking it. I was going to do this anyway, but they were already thinking ahead, okay? Miles squared is gotten rid of right here. All right, right now I don't care if there's 1s or 60s or anything on the bottom. Where people get confused is this. I'll go in and ask your question if you're confused. Why are there 2 numbers here but just 1 number here? People are like, why are you putting 2 things down when all I had was a 4?
Wait, didn't you do
Wait
the
a
same
minute.
thing before that?
Right, but before that you saw what happened. Before I had 3 feet and 4 feet. So didn't I have 2 dimensions that became 12? Here's what you're not going to be able to see. You're just going to have to take it at face value. When I tell you I have 4 square miles of something, that means I've already measured it and I already know the 2 dimensions and I multiplied them together and I got 4. Do y'all see that this is really 2 dimensions multiplied together? There were 2 things there, maybe a 2 miles and a 2 miles. Maybe this is 2 miles and this is 2 miles. So when I hand you something in square miles, you've got to make sure that you understand that this came from 2 other numbers, but somebody's already multiplied it together. Can you imagine if I call like the tile store and I say, well, my kitchen, in fact, I could call and say, my kitchen is 12 feet by 10 feet. But what are they immediately going to do with those 2 numbers? They're going to say you have 120 square feet. Do y'all see what I mean? But where did the 120 come from? The 10 times the 12. That's why you need 2 things, but you feel funny because you almost like somebody gave you 1 thing. How will you know if somebody gave you 2 things by the square feet, the square miles? That's your indication that this number right here came from some sort of multiplication. All right, let's move on. Oh, by the way, I don't know what that is. You would say 4 times 5,280 times 5,280.
Okay, this
Okay.
looks like a huge number, but I'm just gonna.
It's gigantic. You don't even have to read it to me, but thank you. And their answer would be in square feet, okay? Now, which is one reason why people would rather use miles, because that number's so big if you do it in feet. Okay, so now, let's say that I want to change, okay, let me give you a conversion. 2.54 centimeters, 2.54 centimeters equals 1 inch. I will continue to give you like conversions. 2.54 centimeters, it's really ugly writing, equals 1 inch. Okay, so you can flip it either way you need. Bailey?
I just have a question.
Okay.
If this were to be on a test, would the question be like state? How would the question be?
I'm going to be showing them. Okay, so here we'll measure Harry Styles' rectangle. Okay, and centimeters, and let's change it to inches. Okay. Yeah. So let's say this is I don't know what it is. Let's say this is 4 inches, and let's say this is 5 inches. And so the area right here is 20 inches squared. Now let's change it to centimeters. I'm going to say there's 2.54 centimeters in 1 inch. Is that good enough? Why is that not good enough? That's not good enough. How many dimensions have I put down so far? I've only put down 1 dimension, but what was I given? 2 dimensions. Okay? An inch is not going to get rid of inches squared, is it? In fact, what you've done so far is you've only changed 1 of these if you put 1 thing down. Do you see I've got to change both dimensions? So I need another 2.54 centimeters over 1 inch. Now this cancels with both of those. And I'm sorry, y'all know I was intentionally trying to do one that had numbers on the bottom. I went the wrong way with it. I should have gone from inches to centimeters. But anyway, centimeters to inches. But if numbers end up on the bottom, you just do it like always.
Yeah.
Hey girls, if there's a bunch of numbers on the bottom, it looks like from your quiz you did a great job of this. Put the top in parentheses divided by the bottom in parentheses. Okay?
And so the reason that you multiply it two times by the same number is because it's like squared as well.
Right.
Because it's like,
Yeah.
so you need
You're in 2 dimensions.
Yeah.
Okay? All right. So what are we going to do here? Oh, by the way, before we go on, you are welcome, depending on where you are, don't do more than I'm making you do, okay? But if you want to do a little bit more fancy thing, you could say 3 yards squared, and let's change this to feet, okay? So I'm going to say 1 yard has what? 3 feet? Oh, sorry, upside down. I might change this just a minute. Let me think. Okay, I want to change 3 square feet, which kind of, trying to think if I really want to do this. Let's do 100 square feet, okay? Here's the deal. You don't really know where the 100 came from, do you? I don't know if that's 20 times 5 or 10 times 10, but somebody's given it to me, and they've multiplied 2 things together, and they go, here's my kitchen. It's 100 square feet. Claire's kitchen might be shaped different from Yana's kitchen, but they could both be 100 square feet, and that's all they need to know at first, okay? Are y'all all right with that? So now you have 2 dimensions. And so then I'm going to say I'm changing the yards. 1 yard has 3 feet. That's really ugly. I'm sorry. 1 yard has 3 feet, but I need another one, right? Your option for me and for everybody else is to either write down another one, or you can just do this, but you have to be really careful, okay? Is that like writing down 2? It scares me that is like writing down 2. When I put that little square there, that means 1 yard over 3 feet times 1 yard over 3 feet. Okay? That gets rid of everything, and you have 100 times 100 over 1, and you would have 1 over 3, and you would have another 1 over 3. The square feet would cancel, and you would have yards squared left. I don't know if you're there yet. I'm just afraid that you're not going to pick up how many 3s. There's 2 of those 3s. If you go squared, if I say xy squared, doesn't that mean xy times xy? Okay, so if you want to shortcut it and go, I don't feel like writing down 2 or 3, you can go squared or cubed, but you better be checking your homework answers and see if you're doing it right. Okay, Bailey?
I don't understand where the question is.
Oh, the question is convert 100 square feet to yards. You want to go from square feet to square yards. The questions will be clear. I'm not being clear, but the question, I'll read it out to you. I'm getting off my computer. Danielle?
So at the top, what cancels out? The only thing that cancels out are feet.
Well, really, do you see this is feet and everything in there was squared?
Yeah.
In fact, I recommend that students that do that they actually do this. 100 until they get like super good at it, which will be a while. So don't worry about it. If you're wanting to shortcut it, this is my suggestion. Is everybody listening? If you're going, I don't want to write down another one of those. I just want to square it and say I wrote down 2. I would suggest that you just square everything in there so you can actually see it. You see what I mean? Instead of slapping a 2 on the whole outside until you're ready for that. Then the feet squares cancel. And you actually see you have 100 divided by 9, and the yard squared is left. I don't know what 100 divided by 9 is. You would get a decimal here, but you're used to decimals already. You did a great job with that. I think most of y'all are probably going to write it down twice until you decide you don't want to write it down twice anymore. If you do the little squared method, just square everything inside of there. so that you remember you have 2 of them. Okay, Gabby? All right, let's go to volume. Volume is how many dimensions?
3.
Like this. This has area, right? And this just 2-dimensional? Like 2 inches times 10 inches? Okay, but what does this have? Volume. It's got length, width, and height. Do y'all see what I mean? And so I would say base times width, height, or length times width times height is usually what we use, and it's how many dimensions is something that can hold water, hold markers. It's got to be how many dimensions?
3.
3 dimensions. A microwave, to hold something inside of it, it's got to be 3 dimensions, okay? 2 dimensions, you can put something on top of it and hope it stays. Do y'all see the difference? Okay. So now, I think you're going to be good with this. Let me read the question, because a lot of y'all, I've not really read the question very well. All right, let's say that we are, your homework will look like, something like this. It'll say, let's convert 6.06 cubic feet to cubic inches. So this is what it says. 6.06 cubic feet equals how many cubic inches? Okay, that's what it'll say. It means you've measured something in feet, but the person you're buying it for wants it in inches, so you have to convert. Okay? All right, so let's start like I've done before. Start with what you're given and go to what I say to convert to. You've done that. You did a great job of it. So I have 6.06 cubic feet. And this is where the confusion sets in. That feels like it's one number, girls, but it's not. If they got cubic feet, do you realize they got that number by saying length times width times height? That number comes from 3 numbers, okay? So now I'm going to say 12 inches in 1 foot. Is that enough?
No.
12 inches in 1 foot. Gil, is that enough? 12 inches in 1 foot.
Yes.
Now I just converted all 3 dimensions that we didn't even really know what they were. We just knew the product. So feet cubed is gone. And now you get out your calculator. These numbers do get big a lot of times. You say 6.06 times 12 times 12 times 12. I think Evelyn's getting that for us. It's going to be really big.
1,400, 10,470.
Like this.
Yeah, 0.68.
And inches what? Very good, Sarah, because it's inches, inches, inches. And she and I ought to go from cubic feet to cubic inches. It doesn't make any sense to go from cubic feet to square inches. So, suppose I asked them a test, and I would give you more like work on this, or at least little definitions on the top of the page or something. I'm not just going to scream it at you. But what page 1 I started with, 1 dimensions are just, I'm going to just measure how long this is. The string is however long, okay? 2 dimensions is talking about what? Danielle?
Something with an area.
Area. That would be something with 2 dimensions, which leads your mind to area. And 3 dimensions would have to be, Daniela?
Something that can hold something inside of
So
it.
it has, starts with a V, volume. Good, Gabby. Okay. So 2 dimensions implies area. 3 dimensions implies volume. Okay? So I think you're good to go. All right? And the good news is right now we're not going to have like cubic feet per minute. We're not going to have time in there. Also, we're just going to do these conversions. And then we'll be through with our conversions in here. I can't think of another one we're going to do. So we'll be doing more fun stuff. Okay, now, let's get your homework out really quickly. Let me pull it up, because I do want to give you a few minutes to work together. You'll be doing some more graphing stories tonight to help you with the graphing stories quiz, but I want to make sure I get there so that you know what the quiz would entail. All right, and girls, stay quiet, just so we can keep moving. While I'm doing things, just kind of whisper to each other, be ready to come back in.
whenever she runs.
It's going around. I had it last week.
Well, now it says me. And
Everyone's getting it. It's really off and I feel like snorting.
me too.
So,
Okay. One picture of this.
Okay, taking a long time to open. So everybody's looking at theirs. Let's just look at it here. Does anybody want to volunteer? Make sure Victoire can get in. I'm not sure she's back. It looks like there's a person out there. Anybody want to volunteer to read their story about Tom? On the homework? Okay, Bailey?
I tried it.
Okay.
So I said, in 50 seconds he walked 100 meters away from his house.
Okay.
And then I said, then he walked back home for 20 seconds.
Okay.
And then I said, next he ran 120 meters in 30 seconds. And then I said, he got to school.
Okay. And he must have gotten to school early because it looks like he just stayed there. Yeah. Did he run all the way back home?
No.
Okay, so maybe he forgot to pick up something at the store or whatever. We'll see other stories, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said like the store thing as well. I said, I think Tom was walking at a consistent speed, straight path until about 100 meters in. And I said, then it looks like he dipped down and went off course, maybe to buy something from the store. Then it seems that he went on the right path again and reached the bus stop.
Yeah, where he was going.
Where it flattens out.
To a bus stop. And then he just stood there waiting for the bus, which is what we all should do. But you see people in the morning running to the bus if the bus is pulling away. But I love to be standing there waiting on the bus, but not too long. Okay, so you will have to be able to do this, girls, so make sure you're listening. If somebody's talking to you, make sure that you are listening. It opened up the wrong Word doc. I don't even know how I could do that if I tried. Oh, here. Okay, now this is something you're going to have to be able to do. Trying to make this a little bigger. Oh, I guess I can do it this way. I'm guessing, seeing the wonderful caliber of students that I have, that some of y'all probably incorporated speed into it, but you may not have, so let's make sure you know how to do that. Okay. Okay. So look carefully at this, because what if I asked you, I will ask you questions like this. Is everybody listening?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. If I asked you how fast he walked the first part, okay? I'll just do it for you, then you can try the next one. We've done speed in here already, but I can tell that he did this, right? I don't know if you can see that very well. Okay. So I'm really only going to here. All right, but I know that he got 100 feet away from home. Do y'all see that?
Yeah.
100 meters. So he went 100 meters. And how long did it take him?
50 seconds.
Very good, 50 seconds. And so I actually know how fast he was walking. I will ask you this, 2 meters per second. Okay, so now we think, I think according to maybe, what, Bailey or Danielle, I can't remember. Bailey, did you tell us the story first?
Yeah.
And Yana thought it looks like he went faster for a while because he was like, oh my gosh, I forgot something. Or I've got to go meet my friend or whatever. All right, and so how many meters did he go? He went from 100 and for some reason he went back to 40. Do y'all see what I mean? I'm drawing over these numbers, I'm sorry. He went from 100 all the way back here to 40. So if I backtrack, do you see where he is right now? He's 100 meters away from his house.
Right.
And now he decides to go back away from the bus stop for a minute,
Oh, right.
okay? So he's like, oh yeah, I want to go to Starbucks, but it's back there on 84th and 3rd, okay? So he's got to go back this way. Now, so he had to go back 100 and this is 100, this is 40. So how many meters did he go backwards? 60. And how long did it take him?
70
If you
seconds.
could read these words.
20 seconds.
It only took from 50 to 70. So he's like watching, you know,
I
okay?
thought that.
So he covered 60 meters in 20 seconds. And so he was going faster. What does that convert to, girls? Rebecca?
30 meters per second.
He'd be super fast then. Would it be 3? Not 30?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, 30.
That would be like Superman. All right, now let's see how fast he's going here. He's going from 40, and he finally arrives at the bus stop at 140, 140 meters away from home. But he didn't go all the way from home at that point. He went from Starbucks, okay? So he went 100 meters to finish his trip. And how long did it take him? I think I missed that one. It happened from here to here. So it looks like 30 seconds. I don't like that. I guess that's right. Did I write that down? Oh, that's because I couldn't add the first one right. I just don't remember a decimal. I'm sorry, I couldn't read my writing or the typing here. This is 160. That's 160. And this one was 40. So what's the difference between those? 120 meters. And it did take 30, 10, 20, 30 seconds. And so that gives me 4 meters per second. It's very interesting to think about if you're just walking and forgot something, you got to go back, then you've got to hurry to make it to the bus stop in time. Then you could tell me he made it to the bus stop in time because he just waited. Okay? All right, now let me give you the matching answers. And we can squabble over them in a minute, okay? But let me give you the answers. If I call them out in a confusing way to you, just let me know. I'll restate them. I just wrote the letter with the number. Some of you do lines or whatever. I paired 1 with G. Just write yourself a note. 2 with D. 3 with F. 4 with C. 5 with A. I thought these were challenging, by the way. 6 with E. 7 with I. 8 with H. 9 with J. And 10 with B. Anybody get the exact same I got? Oh, wow. Got a few. I thought they were challenging. Okay. Once you miss one, once you miss 1 or 2, then it's hard to ever get the other ones right. You've already decided on those. Okay, so new decision. I have lots of new decisions all the time, just to make sure I'm teaching to where we are in the classroom. And so I'm pleased as you. I'll probably send Maria an email to make sure she checks assignments, but we should always do that. I'm not going to give you a quiz on drafting stories because I thought we would have a lot more time to work on it. So let me see if you can, I tell you what, I'm just going to give you homework on dimension analysis, some review and some on the new stuff. You do not have a quiz on Friday. I will state that clearly in assignments, but you will have a quiz on Tuesday on drafting stories. But almost all of Friday, we will spend doing drafting stories together in groups, and then I'll tell you the right answers and all of that. So Friday will be a more fun day, even though today was not so fun, but you did great. Thanks for paying attention. I'm just going to cut off the video right now, and then I'll get questions. Assignments will be posted in a few minutes. And if you have a question about your quiz, you can stay after if you have time. Ella?